We have an honor and privilege to meet this young lady who was doing it and who was doing a great work for her Lord and her Savior. She has an incredible testimony, what she's been through. She is an author, a mother, a entrepreneur, and just doing it. So her name is Miss Sakinna J. Sakinna. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sakinna. I'm so sorry. Bad pronouncing name.
Okay.
So how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How was your week?
It's been going pretty good, actually. So can't complain.
Yes, wonderful. So can you tell us who is Sakinna J? For the outside world, I told you it's about to sound messed. Who is Sakinna J?
So Sakinna J is a mother. Hopefully soon to be wife.
All right.
Put that out there, right? She is a social worker, now #1 best-selling author.
All right.
She's a daughter, she's a friend. Everyone needs a Sakinna J.
Wonderful. So it's funny how we met. I met you at August Cafe 32, the one where your mom was on there. So,
Right.
and then you would say, I was being possible write a book. I was like, okay. Then you and George came to my wife's first event, Couples Cahoots, and they loved that good time.
With the house.
Yeah, with the house, yes. She came in, you had a book out, come on stage. I was like, okay, I'll get you on here. So I was like, and your mom was right. Your mom's a big supporter. Shout out Miss Zena Florence. She's watching right now. Yeah, so big supporter, advocate for just anything positive, anything that's done correctly through the Lord's Jesus Christ, So I appreciate her as well. So besides, you do a lot. So can you tell us about your journey? I actually read your book. The part you was blessed but not broken. About your journey, about how you had faith in God. You overcame obstacles with full transparency. Can you talk about that? What's your experience growing up? What's your life journey like to where you are right now?
Yeah. So Blessed Not Broken: The Power of Letting Go is volume 4. And basically my chapter is I Choose Me. I take people on a journey from my childhood to adulthood, my struggle with my self-esteem, poor decision-making with boys, until a very toxic and abusive relationship I had gotten into further on in my adult life. And so I pretty much just take you on that journey, how I overcame it, how I went through my healing process. And just basically trying to get a lot of women to let go of those things and maybe those relationships that aren't doing them any good. So
was it hard for you to put it down on paper when we did as you was doing it? Because I know that was a lot of emotions, a lot of like memories coming back to you. What that process you actually putting on paper?
So
and who inspires you to do that?
Okay, so my mother, of course.
Okay.
She was in Blessed Not Broken Volume 3.
Okay.
Yeah, she was working with the visionary author Tamara Mitchell Davis. And my mom's just like, you have a story to tell. You can tell so many people. And I'm like, I ain't telling nobody my business. And she's like, you can help so many women. I mean, I wanted to help women, but I didn't want to put the story out there. Okay. So it was like my plan was to help women that were in domestic violence situations, but I didn't want to tell my story. I just wanted to go out and help. So she supported me and kind of like, you got a story to tell. So I started writing, then I stopped. Then I got angry, then I stopped. Then it was like, how could I have put myself through it? Then I stopped. So it was definitely a journey. I wasn't expecting to have author on my resume. But God had different plans for me. So I definitely prayed a lot and I listened to what he has to say. And he said, tell your story. Your story could save so many lives. So that's what I did.
Wow, yes. So, like I told you before we were late, I actually read your part in the book, Blessed Not Broken, volume 4?
I'm in volume 4.
Volume 4, I gotta make sure I said the volume right, because my wife got your book. And the offer to got the book, I read the book, and it was inspiring to me as a man and what you went through and experienced at a young age, and and I wrote down 6 key points that you wrote in the book.
Okay.
So I want you to go into the little details about each one.
Okay.
The first one you said about for your situation, you went back to God. So what can you remember that when you went back to you said it's at this point you wrote that you wrote that people will take away from your part. You wrote down went back to God. You found a therapist. You forgave.
Right.
You kicked low esteem, self-esteem's butt.
Mm-hmm.
You dared yourself and you
Right.
apologized. So can you go to each one? So
Yeah. So when I say I went back to God, I was raised in a church, but sometimes, especially being raised in Philly, like I'm from South Philly, so the streets get you and you drift away, and so a lot of the times I like drifted away, but I always came back to God. But in this particular relationship, I called on God a lot more, but I kept feeling like God was tired of listening to me. Like, why is he not answering my prayers? Why is he not changing my situation? And so at that point, I decided, you know what? You need to give yourself fully to God and then watch him do the work versus, just praying here and there or praying when something is bad. You should be doing it often. You should have that relationship with God. So instead of saying, God, I need you to fix this relationship. I need you to fix this man. Why is he doing this? I just ask God to fix me. Fix me from within. Heal my broken pieces. So that way I won't deal with such a relationship like this. What was your second one?
it was like you found a therapist.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I am a social worker. So I know firsthand, my bachelor's degree is in psychology. My master's is in social work. So I know firsthand how important therapy can be. In our culture, a lot of black people are not into therapists. They're like, I'm not talking to no shrink. And, they have a very negative connotation around it. However, my therapist was amazing. She took me through a lot of steps, a lot of my healing process. She did amazing work with me. So actually seeing that therapist helped me overcome a lot of obstacles.
Yes. I think therapy is very important, especially essential, especially for couples and especially for individuals who who want to get better. And a lot of times, as you mentioned, there's a stigma out there that therapy is makes you crazy. No, therapy makes you better. It depends.
Right.
And I think that's why I advocate for therapy for couples who are about to get married and doing married. So me and my wife went through therapy, couples like coaching and individual therapy, because a lot of times the devil will come back. The devil, the demons will come. Like, you think you was done with this situation like a couple years ago, but like then he will show you like you ain't done with that. So you had to get the help that you need, because you don't get the help, anything that you pray for will get worse, and you don't take home yourself enough to get the help that you need. So, the third point you wrote, you forgave. Can you talk about that? Forgave. You forgave yourself or forgave the other person, or both?
Both.
Okay.
So first, I had to forgive myself, only because I was really beating myself up as to how did I allow my life to get to this point. I'm a social worker. I help people that are in this situation, but I felt bad. Like, why couldn't I help myself in this situation? And so I had to forgive myself, and then I had to then in return forgive the several people I mentioned within my chapter.
Right.
Forgiving myself was the hardest part, though. It was like, I forgave them. It's like, okay, it's cool, it's fine, just stay away from me. I can forgive you and be away from you, but to forgive myself was actually the hardest part, and I had to stop beating myself up.
Right.
Like, we all make decisions in life, but you stand by your decision and you go forward. You work on your healing. So I just pretty much had to forgive myself, which was the hardest part.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, because like you said, you beat yourself up. You're so hard on yourself, you don't know how to probably let it go, because at the end of the day, all you just made choice, but you let go because you can't be in that same place forever. So
right. And at that time, I only had the one daughter, so I felt like a bad mom. She had been seeing a lot, so I was just like, it was a mental struggle for me. So I really had to work with my therapist as we were working through the healing, working on forgiving myself.
Yes.
No parent is perfect.
Right.
So, you did what you had to do under the circumstance, and that's just what I had to do.
Right. Yeah. And then the fourth one you pulled was you kicked low self-esteem's butt. So.
Oh yeah. So growing up, I was bullied a lot. I was bullied a lot, whether it was in school, whether it was family members, bullied everywhere I went. So it really messed with my self-esteem. It made me feel like I wasn't pretty enough. People wasn't gonna like me. And so as I got older, I was still struggling with it. So when I went and saw my therapist, we started working through those things. And then I realized, like, I'm nice. Like,
right.
You know, I look good, I sound good, I dress good. Like, what are you having low self-esteem about? You know, so that was why I had to kick self-esteem's butt. And every day I look in the mirror, I say, you know, I am beautiful. I am a queen. I am made in God's image. You know, so I've kicked self-esteem's butt.
Yes, you gotta look in your mirror and say there are more good things about yourself than negative things. And
yes.
You had a bad moment that makes you a bad person.
Exactly.
You know, or made a bad choice. You know what I mean? You're not a bad person. You know, all of us have mistakes, all of us fall short. Mm-hmm. As long as you pick yourself back up and have that positive mindset, say, look, I'm more than this, you know, you can move forward and continue to be great and continue what God called you to be.
Absolutely.
The fifth one is you date yourself. So.
Yeah, I dated myself. So it's like if you want a relationship or you want people to love you, like how can you do that when you're not even finding out about yourself? So I took myself to the movies, I took myself to massages, I, you know, went out to eat dinner, went to music, like I did a lot of stuff with myself because it's like how can you expect other people to love you if you're not loving on yourself? So I take that time out to really just embrace me. And that's part of why I said, you know, dating myself, because it was also a part of my healing process.
Wonderful, wonderful. And the last one you mentioned in the book is apologize.
Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, I had the one daughter at the time.
Right.
And so she had seen a lot, she had been through a lot. So I felt like I needed to apologize to her. Because she wasn't, she was young. You know, I made the choice to be in that relationship or those relationships would affected her and will affect her in the future, you know, if I don't step in and say, look, this was not the right way. This is not the way to go. And also to my family and friends, you know, sometimes we get in these relationships and we choose the person we're with over our family and friends. And then it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. He loves me or she loves me. You're just mad because you don't have me. You know, it's just constant. So I had to really go back and apologize to my support system. Like, you know, I know you were just trying to be there for me, but I was so blinded that I couldn't see. You know, so that's why I had to go back and apologize to those relationships I had either broken or, you know, tampered with a little bit. So.
Wonderful. Wow. Yeah, those are powerful steps you talked about dating yourself and forgiving yourself and apologizing, because that's a big thing to apologize, to admit that you're wrong, that you hurt someone or you offended someone's feelings or you took them right because of something that you felt at the time was right, you know, and just wanted to be there for you. So it's very powerful. Like I said. Blessed, Not Broken, The Power of Letting Go. I think that's a powerful book for women and men to read.
Yes.
You know, how many authors in that book? Are you authors in that book?
So that book is 6 of us.
6 authors, yes, 6 authors. You have to let go. You gotta let go of the pain. You gotta, and keep your mother out of jail. Your mom said keep your mother out of jail.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So you gotta forget. So. Now you're on another project, another series that you are doing, like I think the daddy-daughter dynamic.
Yes.
Can you tell my boy about that?
Yeah. So the daddy-daughter dynamic is 13 women.
Okay.
And we share our stories and take you on a journey of our healing, self-awareness, our forgiving, and just pretty much how we came into self-love through our daddy-daughter dynamic. It's going to be phenomenal.
So what was is the book finished or is it coming together?
So it's in the process, yeah. It's in the process of being edited and published. So that one is not out yet, but.
So what made you decide to say, hey, I want to be part of it. I want to share my story about.
So in Blessed Not Broken Volume 4, I briefly touched on how my relationship with my father shaped me getting into certain relationships.
Okay.
I only used like maybe a couple of sentences, but when Focus James had presented me with the daddy-daughter dynamic, I was like, oh, well, I don't want my dad to be mad, but
you gotta tell the truth.
Yeah, I have a story to tell, and I feel like what I went through with my dad is also what my daughter is going through currently with her dad. And so it's like that generational piece. So I was like, if I can help other women heal from their relationships with their father and also make sure that they're not dumping that on their children, and choosing the same type of men, to do the same thing to their children. So I definitely wanted to get out there and tell my story about my dynamic with my father.
Wow. Yeah, because that's very important because like you said, your relationship, your father kind of affects your relationship with other men based on what you experience with your dad growing up. And now as you get older, you can realize okay, now I can share my story. Now I can impart to your daughter, how to do that, how to not some go for the same cycle, the same choices, So,
absolutely.
And by the way, spoiler alert, I for the last 2 Saturdays of April, who was listening, I'll interview all 13 authors in this series. So that's a couple weeks. So I'll give more details about next week. I'll be interviewing all 13 women on the Daddy-Daughter Dynamic series.
Yeah, so make sure y'all tune in because that's gonna be juicy.
It's gonna be definitely juicy. So
that's gonna be good.
It's gonna be juicy, and so I'm looking forward to that because I want to hear y'all explain it because growing up I didn't have that. My dad died when I was 3 years old. So like I didn't know I really had a relationship with my father. So so now my mother's been dating her boyfriend, so it's like kind of learned certain parts, but it's not the same as your dad. So it kind of affected me in my marriage, the first year of marriage,
absolutely.
Because of certain things you wish you were taught or certain things you don't know, you have to learn your own. So, but it comes to learning experience. It comes to learning about being around people and about your village and being around people who are fathers, who are doing the right thing, who are being by example. That's very, very important. So,
well, I commend you for wanting to learn. Though.
Yes, yeah.
You have a lot of men out there who's just like, I am the way I am, just deal with it.
Right.
They don't really want to figure out, what's missing from them and how they can,
and find out
be a better man.
Find out what they need is,
Exactly.
Because all of us have to evolve. You can't be 12 forever. You go get older. You can't have the same mindset at 12 as you are 30, 32. You have to evolve. You have to evolve and grow and get out of that fixed mindset, go to a growth mindset. So besides the other book, besides the 2 books you're having right now, what else going on with you? What's next for you? What's next?
Oh, a couple of things.
Okay.
So I actually just finished my program with Focus James to be a life coach.
Ooh!
I finished that.
So what was that like? What was that like? What? Because what was that program like? I got thought about doing it. I want to inspire, but I don't know what my target audience is going to be yet. So what was that process like? So
it was a great process.
Okay.
Focus James does amazing work. She actually kept bringing me out of my own mindset. It's almost like, I had a certain way of thinking, and she's just like, well, hey, how about we think about it this way? So even down to how I say my life is hectic. I got 5 kids, I got work, I'm like, oh, Focus, it's just hectic. She's like, well, how about instead of saying we have a hectic life, you have a really juicy life? Putting a more positive spin on things, which that's not even something I would have even thought about.
Right.
It's like I'm just saying my life is hectic, but it was just a really good experience. And then we did the love languages, and I was able to talk to women every single week about their love language, how they love, how they receive love. how they give love to others. So it was really good.
So,
I learned a lot from her.
So how long was the program? How long was it? Like 6 weeks?
8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
8-week program.
Okay, so what's the next step now? So you licensed now, so you're gonna start taking clients, or
I would love to start taking clients, and I'm working on a program called I Choose Me, which is based off of my title and the power of letting go. And I Choose Me is just basically me helping women regain, rebuild, and restore their lives after domestic violence.
Ooh, wow.
So that's what I'm going to be working on. I also, during my writing journey, my 2-year-old twins were diagnosed with autism during this time.
Oh, wow.
As I was writing these 2 books. So I definitely want to work on being an advocate for children with autism as well, especially women with multiples that have autism. So
wow. So yeah, because I definitely commend you for that, because because it's so how funny God works, because one there was a mother-son brunch, and I know the organizer of the brunch, and she was looking for speakers, and she asked me, "Do you know any speakers I can speak?" I was like, "Yeah, I love female speakers." So the lady they chose was someone I recommended. She's an advocate for autism. Okay. So I would definitely get her number. I would definitely get that contact, because
nice.
So she's an advocate for autism. Like you probably know Sheila Armstrong, right?
So was she at the?
She referred to Office Cafe. She had the son that cooks.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll definitely connect you with that. Okay. So you got the life coach going on. You got the book come out, Focus, and the other book coming out. So just something you're doing. You're doing something May 14th. What is that?
Oh yeah, so May 14th, I'm having my first book signing.
Woo!
For Blessed Not Broken Volume 4. That's going to be at 6208 Grace Avenue here in Philly. It's actually at one of my dear friend's churches. He's allowing us to have the space for me to do a book signing there. So that's going to be May 14th. I believe it's 12 to 3, so it's like a luncheon. Okay,
if you need a host, let me know. So you need a host or my moderator, let me know. I can do that. So let me know. I'll support that, because you supported me. So I will definitely support you,
Thank you.
You need a host, let me know. So so that's not a problem now. No problem. So you got the book signing, you got a lot going on. So
I do.
Yeah. So what do you do for self-care?
For self-care, nothing. I sleep. I guess that is something, right? No, I sleep for my self-care, because I don't get no rest. I don't sleep enough, I will say that. I'm always on the go. My mind is always moving. Every now and then I will do like a self-care Sunday, take myself to get my nails and feet done. No kids, no phone. I'll leave the phone in the car, and I'll just go. People be calling like, "Where were you?" Taking care of myself. But outside of going out and doing like pedicure and manicures, making sure my hair is done, I sleep, which is good at taking care of yourself. I need to sleep. So
wonderful. So where people can find you, more information about you, your books, your services, like pending life coach services.
Yes.
Where can people find you so they can get information about you?
So I am on Instagram at Sakinna J. Facebook says Sakinna Alston. That's Alston. My email is Sakinna, SAKINNA 601 @gmail.com.
All right, wonderful. So, before we have final words, so what advice would you tell the younger Sakinna now?
Ooh. What advice would I tell the younger Sakinna? I think I would tell her that she's beautiful. She's talented, she's smart, and she is definitely an overcomer. So that's what I would tell her. Wow.
That's yeah. So, and what final words you will leave us today for women who may be experiencing what you're dealing with? What words you will leave with them right now? to help them, to encourage them to take that step?
Yourself is more important than anything. If you're not okay, then things around you and the people around you are not okay. If you don't, heal from your past traumas, if you don't work on your own healing and forgiveness, you're no good to anyone. So it is very important for women to, get out of those bad situations, because studies have shown that people who stay in those situations either end up in jail or in the ground. So it's very important to find your local, domestic violence shelter. There's so many people out there willing to help. You just have to do one of the hardest things, and that's leave. So that's what I would tell them.
Wow. Yep. Just leave. That's it.
Yeah.
Just leave.
It's hard. It's really hard. Studies tell you that women leave at least 7 times before they actually fully leave a domestic violence situation. So you leave, you come back. You leave, you come back. And studies have shown, 7 times it takes for a woman to leave and finally come back. Some women don't have 7 times though. So it's just very important to choose you first. That's why I say I choose me. Choose you first. And the hardest thing you can do is leave. And it's important though.
Wow. That's powerful. Wow. You got to choose yourself. That's right.
Yes.
All right. Sakinna J.
Yes.
It's an honor and a privilege to have you as a guest
on
my show. Thank you for supporting Artist Cafe the past 2 of them as a guest, and now you as an author now.
Yes.
So supporting here with the Howards. Also, just being an awesome woman of God as well, and now also certified life coach.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Zena. Thank you so much for your comment. Appreciate you as well. I know you're doing great work, and you raised a wonderful daughter in person. So I am proud of you as well. Thank you for support as well. Thank you for those who are watching as well. You can watch it on my page once it's loaded. Please comment, share, because we want this to get bigger and evolve, because we got powerhouses out here telling their truth, telling their story, trying to inspire you to become the greatest and your best self. So enjoy the rest of the Saturday. I know that the Saturday was a little rainy this morning, but it's totally beautiful. Thank you so much, Cena. Thanks for your words. I appreciate it. Just keep God first. Be safe. Just like I said before, check on someone. Check on someone that you never know what they've done over time, that you see them, that you care for them. You never know what those words can mean to them. So check on someone. Be safe. Love on yourself. Tell them that you're going to tell yourself you are all right. You are enough.
Yes.
So with that being said, we enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for a new episode of the Romans Struggle to Experience radio show.